Next, on UOMO Magazine, we will visit with a former UOMO graduate whose name is synonymous with horror, Stephen King.
Hey everyone, Pushing Up Roses here, and welcome to a deep dive into Stephen King's most Stephen King-like movie, Maximum Overdrive. Now, there are two things you must understand about this film, and that's that King directed it himself, and he was also blitzed out of his mind on cocaine when he did. He may not even remember this film. I've always enjoyed Stephen King's writing. His books and movie adaptations were something I shared with my late father, much to the annoyance of my mother, who thought 12 years old was way too young to read Misery, but hey, I needed to learn about psychotic parasocial relationships sometime.
God, I love you.
Maximum Overdrive was adapted from King's short story called Trucks, which was published in Cavalier magazine in 1973 and was later added to a collection called Night Shift. It was a decent story. That being said, this movie is a mess. The door has flown off the frame, my friends. It is unhinged. Some people think this is a complete anomaly for King, that it doesn't follow any of the tropes and his usual fare, but I think this is exactly him. Precisely him. Indubitably him. On drugs. Oh good, great. You know it's a fantastic film when they put some of the exposition in a text overlay. Let's read some of this together, shall we?
On June 19th, 1987, at 9:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Earth passed into the extraordinarily diffuse tail of Rhea M, a rogue comet. According to astronomical calculations, the planet would remain in the tail of the comet for the next 8 days, 5 hours, 29 minutes, and 23 seconds.
To represent this, we get a green glowy effect around the Earth. That's the tail of the comet, and it's green because green equals bad, or stinky. In Wilmington, North Carolina, something weird is afoot. I am so glad the first bit of dialogue we get is this marquee, which just says, "Fuck you." Keep it classy, Stephen. The first person we see is King himself, which isn't weird since he does have a quick cameo in the majority of his films, but I wasn't expecting him to be the first face I saw. As his character withdraws money, the ATM machine calls him an asshole. I mean, those sunglasses aren't making him not look like an asshole.
This machine just called me an asshole!
I can't play it due to copyright, but right after this, AC/DC starts playing over the title screen. Apparently, King liked AC/DC, presumably they also liked him, so this movie is full of their songs. There's even an AC/DC van. I'm not sure if the movie is implying the band is actually in this world or not, but I'd like to think they are. As people are driving a busy highway, a bridge starts to go up on its own. Maybe it's ghosts? Maximum ghosts. This causes some issues. This is a total catastrophe. Cars are backing up, people are falling to their deaths, there are watermelons everywhere, people are slipping on the watermelons, they're getting hit with watermelons, the watermelon truck falls over. Okay, it seems like the watermelon truck is causing more issues than the bridge.
Can't you see we've got a situation here?
I'm losing my rind! We then cut to the most iconic thing in the entire film, this semi-truck with a green goblin face on the front. It stops at a truck stop, diner, general store, and the driver goes in for some grub. We're introduced to two other characters, the waitress, Wanda June, and a new hire named Bill Robinson, played by Emilio Estevez.
Lion Duck, man, I swear to God, I was like, Emilio!
I just want to point out that I was disappointed in him because recently he got into a conflict over getting vaccinated for his Mighty Ducks Netflix show, or something strange like that, but I'm still gonna try to be fair in my review of this movie. He is promptly called into his new boss's office.
I got eggs on.
I don't give a ladybug, I want you in here now.
I don't give a ladybug? You can truly make anything into an expletive. I don't give a granola bar. I don't give a Cabbage Patch Kid. I don't give a microchip. Ooh, I really like that last one. Time to start counting Stephen Kingisms. I clocked that King often favors very plain, often homely looking characters, and I'm not trying to be mean or judgmental towards anyone here. He just has a penchant for characters that are not societally beautiful, and that's because they often represent the ugly that's festering deep within them. The pump fueling the Green Goblin stops working, and in a severe lapse of judgment, one of the servicemen decides to look into the nozzle, which immediately spits into his eyes. This sting plays so many times after something unfortunate happens. I think it's going for the psycho sting, but more industrial sounding to fit the possessed machinery plot. The mechanics tell their boss what happened, but he doesn't give a microchip and tells them to sort it out.
Shitty job, but I reckon somebody's gotta do it. Ain't that right, Bubba?
Okay, we're gonna pause here because when I first watched this film, I thought that this character was just calling people Bubba as like a condescending nickname, but then later in the movie I found out that his name is Bubba, so it's just like he's signing everything he says out loud with his name.
Thank you, Bubba. You messing again, Bubba, where you hadn't ought to be messing. Found it in my Christmas stocking, Bubba.
Or maybe it's his catchphrase, you know, like the characters have in Animal Crossing. So I was looking at these timesheets, and one of the names I saw was Gene Pool, and I rolled my eyes and chortled. However, it turns out that Gene Pool is a real person who worked on the film, and now I feel bad. Sorry about that, Gene. I'm not bad. I was just bred that way. I guess there's also an arcade in this building because we cut to a very brief, very bizarre scene where one of the machines starts to break.
Your mama.
What? He attempts to steal a bunch of shit from the machine since they're all breaking anyway, but one of them hypnotizes him, Polybius style, and he is electrocuted.
Your mama.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, there will be even more bloody shenanigans, so stay tuned. As Wanda is preparing food, she's attacked by an electric carving knife. She stands there, splurting blood everywhere, and all of these sons of a llama can say is, "Did that knife go rapid on you, sweet thing?" Don't worry, Bill takes care of it. Now we cut to a baseball game, and you may be asking yourself, where's the plot? This is all just a bunch of short vignettes. And you are correct. This movie goes absolutely nowhere for the first 45 minutes or so. In fact, if you don't know the basic plot, it's super confusing. The coach goes to buy his winning team a soda and is attacked by the machine.
What the hell?
Jimmy, language! This scene is bonkers. The machine starts shooting soda cans everywhere, and then a steamroller comes out of nowhere and... Whoa, okay, holy shit. One kid survives and flees. The next vignette features a Bible salesman and a woman. I'm not sure what she does, she wasn't given much personality other than feisty. Her name is Brett. The two get into a fight, pull over at the truck stop, and the Green Goblin is so annoyed by this asshat that it tries to run him over. Our next scene introduces us to Kurt and Connie, some newlyweds who are on their way to their honeymoon. They decide to pull over for some gas.
Well, that's good, because I got to go to the ladies.
Can I come in and watch?
It took me a minute to figure this out, but Connie is played by Yardley Smith, also known as the voice of Lisa Simpson, making this line said earlier very interesting to me.
You come back here, you listen to me!
Eat my shorts.
Curtis finds a corpse outside the gas station, then nearly gets run over by an old truck. Curtis finds a corpse. That's my favorite Dr. Seuss book.
Are you dead?
No, this is just how I look. I don't know why he's smiling, he just nearly got killed, but at least I still have my girl. Meanwhile, Bill gazes wistfully at a scary clown. Ah, I wish I had joined the circus. Brett introduces herself to Bill, and the thirst is palpable. Green Goblin turns out to be a perv and spies on them while they flirt it up.
You're cute. Yeah? Am I? Not that cute.
I guess that's flirting. You look like trash.
Well, maybe I'll grow on you.
Like a fungus. About 30 minutes in, we get a scene where the kid who survived the soda machine is riding his bike down the street and observing all of the destruction. I thought the death by hairdryer was particularly insane, but that was before I saw the death by small remote control police car. Animal death, that seals it as a King movie for me. While this is happening, we hear a news broadcast that claims machines have run amok. Oh no, a lawnmower. He'll never outrun it. Actually, King also seems to like threatening lawnmowers. What a weird dude.
Actually, you know, I'm the most normal guy in the world.
There's also always a religious zealot and an abusive character, and they often get bumped off somewhere in the story. The Bible salesman gets knocked into a ditch so hard that his shoes fly off, then the Green Goblin runs over his bag of Bibles. As more people find their way to the truck stop, more trucks begin to surround the place. Son of a bick! They begin circling the building and causing a racket like some kind of biker gang. Connie and Curtis are chased in a scene that goes on for far too long, then they head to the truck stop. Unfortunately, the trucks are still circling the place, intent on not letting anyone in.
You see that gap? The next time it comes around, I'm gonna shoot right through it.
Curtis, no. This is like one of those circus games. It's rigged. Ha! Rigged! With rigs! Swing and a miss. They somehow survive and join the others in the truck stop. This is probably the most obvious King trope. A ragtag group of strangers find themselves working together to overcome a greater problem. A few people typically meet a grisly demise. One always loses their goddamn mind. There is usually a pretty woman who catches someone's eye, and there is usually one hero type. In this case, it's Bill Robinson. Oh yeah, the kid. I almost forgot about him. He's still making his way to the truck stop, now running from planes which have also gone into maximum overdrive. Luckily, Bubba has a basement full of every firearm you could ever want, so Bill and Brett look for something to take the trucks out with.
Jesus Christ, Palomino.
I didn't know Jesus had a last name. Bubba accuses them of stealing, then tells Brett that Bill is on parole and will call the cops on him, and I'm like, sir, what are you doing? The cops aren't coming. Didn't you see their mini police car? He laments a little to Brett about his past indiscretions.
Hey. It's all right.
I'd still tap that. And then she does. Brett speculates that the tail of the comet is causing everything to go awry as Bill licks some sweat off of her forehead. Gross. If this is the case, they just need to stay alive for the next 7 days. Yeah, because the first 12 hours were easy peasy. Talk about Aurora Borealis. Basket. Basket. Hey, do not. No. Why? Don't sniff the microphone. Oh, you're so cute. I love you. Bill comes up with a plan. They'll take a sailboat to an island called Haven about 6 miles away that doesn't allow any motor vehicles. But what? They don't go into this, by the way. I don't know if there are other machines on this island or why vehicles aren't allowed, but I do know that naming this place Haven is a little too on the nose. Why is there a picture of the Last Supper on this jukebox? Remember when Jesus invented the sock hop? Wanda June loses it and starts screaming at the trucks.
We made you!
It does not help. Everyone hears screaming from across the street and they realize the Bible salesman is still alive, pleading for help. Bill and Curtis go on a mission to save him. They enter the sewer, and at the same time, the kid enters the sewer via this pipe. You know what? Sewers count as a kingism. He loves them. Phew, this is a lot. We're gonna take one last break, and when we come back, there will most likely be more trucks murdering people. This is what you signed up for, folks. The kid pops out into the ditch and finds the salesman, who doesn't look so hot. The kid thinks he's dead and begins to leave, then the salesman flings up and attacks.
Help me! How?
Is it just me, or should this kid be a little more scared? His response is lacking. We finally learn the boy's name is Deke. Bill and Curtis find him in time to save him from the seemingly possessed salesman. Before getting back into the gas station, Bill uses a fucking bazooka on one of the trucks. Deke wants to know where his father is, and in not so eloquent phrasing, Bubba tells him he died.
Done got scrubbed by one of them big boys out there. Tough break, kid.
Don't worry, he eases his grief with bubbles. Whee! So if you think everything up until this point has been utterly bonkers, just you wait. The trucks have called for reinforcements, and now there's a tractor and a machine gun. The tractor attempts to fuck up Bubba's car, and he has had it. I don't care about people, but I do care about my personalized plates. The machine gun goes crackers and guns him down, as well as a few other people. Wanda June follows suit in losing her shit and starts going on her "we made you" spiel, and also gets gunned down, though she manages to take out a Miller Lite truck before keeling over, so that's a plus. The machine gun starts honking the horn, and Deke recognizes it as Morse code. Drink your Ovaltine? They communicate that they need to be fueled and they will not harm anyone during the process. If they don't cooperate, they will kill everyone. Bill decides to play their game, much to Brett's dismay. He goes out there to see if he can trust the machine gun, and wow, that's a sentence I never thought I'd say. Hey there, trucks. Nice job on Wanda. Never agreed with that who made who thing. I always thought we should be subservient. He tells Green Goblin to tell his friends to line up for fueling. Hell's Bells by AC/DC starts playing, and Bill gets ready to say something important that will set the tone for the rest of the movie.
This could be a very long day.
That's your big heroic line, your grand statement? You don't start playing Hell's Bells, then say, this could be a long day. Now we get to see all of the characters fueling up trucks. It would be insufferably boring without Hell's Bells playing over it. Every scene is just painstakingly long, and on top of that, this makes no sense. They had a little bit of leverage over these trucks had they not fueled them, and now they have none. So great, just fuck up my shit, I guess. They spend all day filling up the trucks until everyone is exhausted from working in the heat. Bill goes to rest and explains to Brett that this is clearly aliens trying to clean up the planet using machines so that they can inhabit it. And I have no idea how he got to this conclusion, because there's no indication that that's what's happening, but man, he is pretty confident about his theory. This does definitely line up with all of the supernatural elements King likes to include in his stories. I wouldn't call him a sci-fi writer specifically, but he does like to include elements from the genre in his work. Bill comes up with a plan to destroy the machine gun by setting a grenade down and spinning it. This somehow works. And I feel like this is a recurring theme for this movie of things just somehow working. I wish he would have done that before being forced to fuel all of these trucks, but you know. Everyone starts making their escape via that pipe while we get a destruction montage. All of the vehicles work together to blow up the whole damn gas station. Maximum overkill. They make their way to the marina, chased by the notorious Green Goblin. This fucking idiot gets distracted by a woman hanging out of her car because she's sporting some sick bling. Are you serious? He noticed this ring from that far away? This gets him killed, of course, because you can't be selfish in a Stephen King story. Bill ends the Green Goblin and the survivors set off for Haven. Let's read the ending together, shall we?
2 days after, a large UFO was destroyed in space by a Russian weather satellite, which happened to be equipped with a laser cannon and Class 4 nuclear missiles. Approximately 6 days later, the Earth passed beyond the tail of Rhea M, exactly as predicted. The survivors of the Dixie Boy are still survivors.
Wait, what? That's the end? That's it? How many people died? What happened to the rest of the world? Did they replenish the Earth? How many survivors are there? The ending just raises more questions. So this movie was a mess. It's fun and hilarious, but I feel it's only those things because I know Stephen King was out of his mind when he directed this. I went into the film expecting it to be off the rails. When I watched it a second time, my enjoyment of it was considerably less, and I think I know why. I think I figured out the problem. You see, this movie is 50% trucks driving in circles. The other 50% is people doing some weird shit. Trucks driving in circles, people. Trucks driving in circles, people. Done. The death scenes are pretty fun to watch, some of that coming from the shock factor of seeing this kid get steamrolled, but there is something wrong with this pacing. You know the scene where everyone is just fueling up the trucks? That goes on for nearly 7 minutes, and I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you break it down, that's about 5% of the movie, and all we're doing is watching people pump some gas. Every scene, even the chaotic ones, seem to go on forever. I kept wondering, how in the world is this movie so short, about 1 hour and 35 minutes long, but it felt like an eternity? The acting is just wild. Half of the cast seem to be taking their roles seriously, if not a bit too seriously, and the other half do not give two fucks.
What the fuck?
My biggest issue with this film is that it seems to be having an identity crisis. The soundtrack by AC/DC is called Who Made Who, as is the first song, and this song is about machine versus man. Did we make the machines, or did the machines make us? Wanda June explicitly talks about this when she's going off on the machines.
We made them.
And that's really all the characters talk about. Even the news broadcasts they hear only discuss how the machines have gone crazy, and no one even mentions the comet aside from Brett in one scene. So you get the idea that these are just sentient trucks, but then you get this weird alien comet plot that's only vaguely mentioned in the intro. Is this an ethical story about how we've gone too far with technology, or are these things just chunks of metal on wheels being controlled by aliens? Or is it just the comet and Bill's alien idea was just a bunch of bunk? It's just not connecting for me, and usually King is very detailed in his work. Even something like It, that has a supernatural element, is explained thoroughly, and I believe the tale he's spinning because even in fiction it made sense. Maximum Overdrive is just one big plot hole, and like I said, nothing is explained. The survivors survived. Cool. Cool. Usually we have a King book and it's filled with tropes and writing elements that support it. There's a structure. This, however, is a blob. It's a giant mass and there are tropes and shit sticking out of it. There's definitely something there, but it never takes shape. Despite the plot being nearly non-existent and having a terrible conclusion, this does come across as a very Stephen King movie to me. All of the tropes are there, they're just very exaggerated. It does lack the intelligence and suspense you'd find in other King movies, but hey, this is what happens when you create while hopped up on coke. There's this romantic idea that's been going around forever, that artists create amazing work when they're spiraling with depression and under the influence, but I think this movie proves that that shit ain't true. Have you seen the art I've produced when depressed? Here, I'll show you. Yeah, it's garbage. And here's a piece I produced when I was sober and happy. So don't do coke. That's the moral of this video that I shoehorned in just now. I do recommend watching this movie at least once. It'll be fun the first time, but subsequent times might be a touch boring. If you have a suggestion for a train wreck film you'd like to see me talk about, please leave a suggestion in the comments, and until next time, avoid all soda machines. Hey everyone, thanks for watching this breakdown on Maximum Overdrive. I really hope you got a chuckle out of it. Special thanks to Bruce Phillips for providing the wonderfully dramatic readings for the beginning and end of the movie. You can find out more about his work in the description. If you want to see more from me, I have plenty of videos on this channel, but first a quick shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for continuing to support me and make it possible for me to buy cute toys for my new cat. Consider throwing a couple bucks my way if you want to donate to my cat's catnip fund, and if not, comments and likes really do help. If you want to see more from me, I have a few suggestions on the screen. On the right, you will find a hilarious breakdown of a spooky episode of Murder, She Wrote, and on the left, you will find me talking about a questionable episode of The X-Files. Mulder. What a stud cake. Thanks again, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.